Here we are in other issues. The work of others. The work of others. Doesn't that sound like a general heading? ACCA have a section on the work of others. I'm not laughing at the ACCA now. The ISA calls it, the International Standard on Auditing calls it the work of others. So we're now going to look at the work of others. I've got two little subheadings there to help me to remind me what you need to know in this area, because it isn't much. But what does the work of others mean? Well, you know how internal audit seems to pop up in like half the chapters. It's got its own chapter, hasn't it? Internal audit, and then it pops up again under internal controls, and it's popping up again now, and it'll pop up again at the end. It's a bit irritating the way internal audit keeps on popping its head up. Can't you just squash it down? Well, the work of others is a reference essentially to internal auditors. Can you, the external auditor, rely on me, the internal auditor? Now, you remember we've done a question on this quite a huge question called emergence. Cracking question, hard question, but a cracking question called emergence. The answer is yes, you can rely on the work of others, but you can only rely on the work of others if they are reliable. So reliance is only possible if you audit the reliability. So because we're particularly talking about IA, the work of others is the work of anyone other than the auditor, but it's other than the external auditor. So if you're the external auditor, it's the work of anyone, but particularly to the IA that is relevant here at F8. So you would audit IA reliability. So if the IA have done good, solid, substantive tests, can you bring those substantive tests into your EA working papers? The IA have done good, solid, substantive tests. Can you photocopy them and bring them into your file as external auditor, as EA? The answer is yes, providing you first of all audit the IA reliability. And we did loads on this in the question emergence. So you're already aware of the ideas of testing IA reliability. The same idea applies to anyone else. So can you rely on the work of a surveyor? Yes, providing you audit the surveyor's reliability. Can you rely on the work of a computer analyst? Yes, providing you audit the reliability of the computer analyst. Can you rely on others? Well, you have to, don't you? I mean, financial statements is a record of interactions with other people, so obviously you're going to get involved in, relying on external evidence, obviously. So can you rely on external evidence? Yes, providing the external evidence source is reliable, and the work of others, particularly IA, really, as I say, it comes back to IA, but more broadly in terms of surveyors or computer analysts, can you rely on their work? Well, you can, providing you check that they're reliable. You can't just rely on it. You can't just rely on others. You have to check that they're reliable. And if they're reliable, then you can rely on them. But if they're not reliable, you can't. And really driving this home, no way! Huh? What? Audit report reference. What the ACCA expect you to understand is no way can you make reference to the others in your report. You can't say this. This would be horrendous. Don't even dream of possibly saying this. You can't say, in my opinion, the FS show a true and fair view, but please bear in mind I relied on a surveyor and I don't know if he's any good or not. No. You work out whether he's any good or not, and then you decide if he's any good, and if you think he's good, then you rely on him, and that's it. You've relied on him. No way can you make reference to who you've relied on. No. Yeah, you've got to take responsibility for your own work. That's, you know, it's like, no, as an auditor, you are paid to take responsibility for your own work. If you're suspicious of someone's reliability, then don't rely on them. Find someone else to rely on, or find some other audit evidence. No. Okay, so can you say this in an audit report? In my opinion, the FS show a true and fair view, but do be aware that I audited sales by relying on the IA. No. You would just say, in my opinion, the FS show a true and fair view. And if you have relied on the IA, then it's down to you. And if the IA proved to be unreliable, then you get sued. All right? So if you say that, in my opinion, the FS show a true and fair view, and you relied on the IA, and the IA proved unreliable, that's your fault because you relied on the IA. So don't blame it on the IA because you relied on them. Okay? So it's all about accountability and taking responsibility. It's not very complicated, is it? I'm probably overdoing it. So keeping it simple and coming back to the central point, no way can you make reference to any others in your audit report. You simply must say, in my opinion, the FS show a true and fair view, or in my opinion, they don't. No reference to others. Good. Okay, that's all I want to say on the work of others.